Hi, welcome to another episode of Unlocking Medicare. I'm your host, Tyrone Carr. Today, we have another special guest. I'm excited to introduce my friend, Jeff Kong, who's the owner of Tri-Covery Massage
Tyrone.
Therapy. And so again, thanks, Jeff, for coming.
Thanks
So
for having me.
I've been trying to get you on here for quite some time, and so I know you're a busy guy, so what I want to ask you, and you've worked with the Detroit Lions for the previous, past 5 years,
Yeah.
and I know you guys didn't renew your contract with them this year, so but I know there's so much value that you add as far as just to the community, as far as what you do, and I know you've helped me out tremendously with my own personal accidents, stuff like that. So tell me a little bit about your background, Tri-Covery Massage Therapy, and so
Yeah.
you just share.
So I always grew up playing sports and getting injured when you do play sports. I got into physical therapy and I kind of thought it was cool what they were doing. And I was like, oh, I want to be a physical therapist. So then ended up going to college and realized how long that schooling was. And I was like, I don't know if I want to go to school for that long. And I found out about massage therapy through a friend's parent. And I had to write a term paper and I had to pick a topic. And the night before I had to choose a topic, it's funny how things work out. So I had no idea what I was going to do. The night before I had to choose a topic for my class for a term paper, I had dinner with my friend and her mom was a massage therapist and told me about the frustrations a little bit and what the career is like. And I was like, wow, that's really cool. And my term paper I decided to choose was massage therapy, fluff and buff for true medicine. And that was the title. And that was the debate that I went into. And so I really dove into the studies with it and the research to do that. And this was way before internet stuff. And so I actually had to go and call people and go to the library and do a bunch of research with that. And I really, really got into it. And so after college, I went right into massage school. And from there, I was lucky and I found a great mentor. And if I got a job in a personal training facility, learned a ton about the human body, how it works, how it compensates. And then there I did massage therapy and then I learned how to become a trainer as well. And from there, I really learned how the body moves. And when you watch the body move for long enough, you really pick up on little idiosyncrasies that tell you what's deficient and what the flaws are. And it's like, okay, I see how the foot's doing this and it's causing the knee to do this, and that's going to create a lot of hip pain in this area, and that's going to create some low back tightness. And they're probably going to feel the hip mostly, but then we find out, oh, it's really coming from the foot and it's doing this. And that's what's creating this whole chain of bad movement that causes pain. And so I kind of ran that business and grew from there. And then in 2010, after 11 years at the other place, I decided to open up my own business. And from there, I was really just planning on flying solo and being a stay-at-home dad with just a little bit of a side gig, making a little bit extra money when my kid was at school. And it's organically kind of grown to what it is today, which we have about 13 employees in 2 locations. Um, and just that's kind of how I like to do things. It's pretty organic. I don't like to push the business one way or another. If opportunities happen and if it helps the people around me, then I do it. And if it doesn't, then we keep moving.
So from a massage, because I've been to dozens of various types of massage
Mhm.
therapists, whether it be what do you call it, offices or whatever, and I've tried everything from the deep tissue. So specifically, like you guys work a lot with athletes, professional, collegiate, high school, and stuff like
Mhm.
that. What is the big difference between like what you guys do versus if someone went to like an Avita
More the
massage?
franchise
Yeah,
type.
yeah.
Well, so what we do is really look for results as soon as possible. And Tri-Covery stands for 3 ways of recovery. That's massage, flexibility, and exercise. And we use those 3 concepts to help the body heal and recover and move as efficient, as effective as possible. So when we talk about performance, a lot of people talk about athletes and, oh, okay, we can drop your 40 time and you can jump this much higher and lift this much heavier. But performance is just increasing and improving what level you're at. So if your goal is to be able to pick up your grandchild without any back pain, all right, well, let's work on the performance of that and try to get you in, living a higher quality life so that you can play with the grandchild without being in pain, without discomfort. So, so it doesn't always deal with athletes, although that is a large amount of what we do, but bottom line is athletes or not, we deal with a lot of issues and injuries and go from there. The athletes, it's recovery from the training. So we'll do some of that. That's what we call more of a maintenance type style.
Mhm.
But I'd probably say 80% of our clients that come in with a purpose and a reason. They have a dysfunction or a pain somewhere and they need help with that. And so we use the massage, some of the deep tissue work and soft tissue work with that. The flexibility aspect is a big part of that because a lot of people just feel tight and compressed. And then the exercise is usually a great long-term solution to things because I think a lot of these chronic issues occur because muscles are not balanced properly, and the ones that should be strong aren't strong around a joint. Or there's an imbalance because some of the muscles on one side of the joint are going to be stronger than some of the muscles on the other side of the joint. And so the exercise aspect is a great way to teach cleaner and more effective movement.
So, a lot of my clients, are retired or they're
Mhm.
going into retirement. So, someone that's anticipating, they already have scheduled like a knee replacement or any type of joint replacement for that matter. When we met, I had, my critical motorcycle accident.
Mhm.
And so you helped me as far as, not gonna lie, it was painful, but I know that how beneficial it was, that scar tissue and making that, as much as you possibly can a full recovery. Is there a big difference, or is there like as far as having, in addition to doing the physical therapy, in conjunction with doing massage, like how helpful can that be as far as
They can go very well hand in hand. They'll feed off each other very well. Physical therapists, a lot of them can do a lot of the manual therapy and a lot of the hands-on stuff. But unfortunately, the time isn't always there. So when the physical therapist does spend 5 minutes, 6 minutes able to work on something, and then you feel like that really helps, that's a lot of times where the PT will refer over to us and say, look, this person benefited from manual therapy, so I'm going to send them over to you guys so they can get 30 minutes or 60 minutes of that just to help move things along, to help stimulate the healing that goes on with that. So, so that works extremely well as far as the post-surgical aspect of it. Obviously, it's going to be different for somebody who is coming in with just sciatic issues, or if they're coming in with a hip replacement. With the hip replacement, it's, there's a lot more we cannot do that, as we're limited with. But we have people that come into hip replacement, joint replacements all the time. We have orthopedic offices that refer over to us that are going to help with some of the post-surgical, although they do need a little bit of time from surgery to when we see them. And it's usually at least minimum 8 weeks.
okay?
We want to make sure all of the skin is healed, any of the sutures or any of the stitches that are going on from there. We can do a little bit, some of the lymphatic drainage
Hmm.
is done really well with helping enhance the healing of the surgical areas and to help prevent some of the scarring that can happen. And so, but the biggest thing with that stuff is make sure you get in the physical therapy right away and start moving things.
Is there a benefit to doing massage before the
Yeah.
surgery
Yeah,
versus
there
after?
is. One of the main areas is releasing a lot of the tight areas that happen because of an injury. If you're having surgery on it, it's probably been a long time coming, unless it's a car accident or a motorcycle accident or something along those lines, a blunt force trauma type of injury. But if it's a chronic thing like hip replacement, just wear and tear, most likely that's going to create a lot of biomechanical changes
Hmm.
that's going to load the body improperly, and then certain parts like the low back, thighs are going to start to get really sore and tight. That's what we can help with, kind of help alleviate a lot of that. We can also work on some of the stretching and the capsule around the joint. So the capsule around the joint is basically all the connective tissue that goes around, and that can really affect the integrity of the joint. And what happens over time is that that capsule gets tighter and tighter around the joint as the more damaged it gets, because it wants to limit range of motion. It's kind of your body's natural brace to limit mobility to
Hmm.
protect it. What we can do is actually help move some of that capsule around and loosen it up, which increases blood flow. And anytime there's an injury, blood is pretty much the king of healing and recovery. The more blood flow you can bring to an area, the faster it can heal, the better function it can get.
So does that help with like essentially with inflammation and stuff like
Correct.
that? Okay. Is there people that like neuropathy, like, circulation issues? Is someone, like that, would they benefit from having a massage if you're dealing with that circulation
Yeah.
issue.
So if there's an issue, it means your body's not pushing around the blood as well as it should, not as effective as it should. You see this a lot with like diabetics, neuropathy and poor blood flow from the knees down. And what we can do is we have a number of different resources. The massage work, the hands-on work can help tremendously with that, literally pushing the blood around the body. We also have something called compression therapy with these Normatec boots
Hmm.
that can do great with as far as blood flow. And it's just air compression that goes around the feet and the ankles and the calves. And there's different chambers, so it systematically inflates different parts to create pressure. And what that does is just literally push the blood around significantly, increase blood
Would
flow.
that be like something like when I had surgery, being that I was in that fixated position for a
Hmm.
long period of time, they put these, it's like a brace that goes around and it inflates and stuff like
Yep.
that. Is
It's
essentially what?
so that's really what stimulated. So this Normatec version is kind of like the sportier version of that.
Okay.
So it's the same concept that they'll do if you're bedridden for a long time, to help with the blood flow so that you don't have the bed sores and whatnot from that. And so if you like a lot of diabetics, if they're become bedridden due to a surgery, they'll put these on their legs to help keep the blood flow with their feet, and go from there. This is just the more exciting version of the same thing. They just package it differently, really. So instead of being white and medical looking,
Hmm.
they made it black and sporty looking, but it does the exact same thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So do you have, because I know I've worked with a number of your associates, therapists, and Steve and Brian and John and
We saw Shannon not too long
Shannon
ago.
not too long ago, and they're so good that you get sports because John was cherry picked from the Indiana Pacers. I
Yeah.
remember, so I was sad to see him go, and
Yeah, me
just a
too.
cool guy. And Shannon specifically, doesn't she have some type of background dealing with older patients inside of a hospital? I mean,
Yeah, she has a hospital background. She was a therapist over at Beaumont Hospital, and so she worked a lot from there. She's done a lot of specific training in different illnesses, oncology type therapy. Um, Working from there, a lot of lymphatic work. Like we said, works well with a lot of different patients with medical issues. So yeah, so she's had a lot of specific training, and Shannon's out of the Royal Oak office. She's my lead therapist, my general manager out that way.
okay.
So she kind of runs the show out in Royal Oak. But yeah, she does a fantastic job.
I really enjoyed meeting her and working with her as well. Now, you just talk about like the level 3 massage facial,
Yeah.
like what is that specific? What are you getting from that versus somebody who's just a traditional therapist? Again, using, not that I want to use
So that's
anybody else, but
so what they call FST, which used to be fascial stretch therapy, but now has become Frederick stretch therapy, named after Chris and Ann Frederick, the ones who invented it and created it. So with Frederick stretch therapy, or FST, it's one of the big certifications and training that our therapists go through that kind of makes us a little bit more unique, not just in the technique because of the mobility and the stretching that can come along with it, and how it connects the nervous system along with the musculoskeletal system, and how that gets things working together from there. But also, it changes the perspective of my therapist. It makes them look at the body in a unique way, which actually brings more solution to what they can do to help somebody. So if somebody does come in with sciatic nerve pain, that course actually changes how they want to treat it, and not just stretch everything, but oh, what's going on, and why does the body want to do this, and why does it move this way? And that's a huge instigator of solutions, of finding solutions and how they want to look for it. You can see a problem and you can think, I can do this and I can do this and I can do this, but you're limited with those three things for solutions. But if you look at a problem of what's going on and you think that needs this, what do I need to learn in order to do that for this, but for the body? That also opens up a whole new perspective of solutions,
yeah.
right? You're not just limited to three things. You find out, oh, you know what? It needs this. That needs to be decompressed. What's the best way to decompress that tissue? Okay, we can do this, we can do that. There's tons of things now if you talk about just how to decompress. But if you just say, oh, we can do some cupping. Okay, cupping decompresses. Okay, that's one solution that might not work. But if you think, okay, I need to decompress that tissue, all right, there's all of a sudden 17 different things that can decompress that tissue.
Could there also be, the difference, or that I guess the reverse side of that? If someone says, "Hey, should I do cupping?" I mean, could you be like, "Well, what you're looking for, maybe that wouldn't be a great solution. Maybe some alternative type of method
Yep.
versus."
And on the opposite side, it's like, oh, it needs this, but you also get an idea of what it don't do.
Okay.
Because this could flare things up. This can make it a little bit grumpy. So I would not do this.
Because I should say I've been in, had therapy once, or I should say a couple of times, where I come out of there almost discouraged because I wasn't getting the results that I was looking for, had hoped for. The way that I describe you guys is, you're not going to go in there if you're truly looking for, hey, I want to feel as good as I possibly can prior to injury or whatever. Um, you're not going to fall asleep, but afterwards you're going to feel amazing. And that's, for me, that's the testimonial, is knowing, okay, I know I'm on that path, where versus coming out of there and saying, yeah, I spent $40, and then you throw a tip in there and yeah, I don't feel, and that's discouraging. And so for me, it's worth the money. I think the fact that you guys worked with the Lions for 5, 6 years, you guys were with collegiate athletes and stuff like that. I mean, the proof is in the pudding, and that's why I think so highly of you guys. Why I asked you to be part of one of our episodes.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. All those words, I mean, that's why we do what we do. We want to deliver results. We want to make a difference in somebody's life. And a lot of the therapists, like you said, they have high turnover. And we work really hard to keep our therapists, keep it so that this could be a career for them. And I think a lot of establishments don't really focus on that. They just try to work them as hard as they can, make as much money as they can off of them, and move on. Where we have a very uh, competitive pay. We try to give them a great environment to work at, have fun, and tons of learning. We're really big on constantly sharing information and working from that perspective, because when you're around a bunch of great therapists, everybody learns more from that. If you have 10 therapists you can learn from every day, you can learn 10 golden nuggets.
Yeah.
That's going to help every single one of your clients from the future.
So, well, man, I appreciate you being on the show. And so, and to anybody who watches this, Tri-Covery, and this TRI hyphen Covery, and so they have an office in Novi, Royal Oak. Look them up. I promise you won't be disappointed. And I can say that myself, because I've used them many times throughout the years. And so, again, thank you for watching another episode of Unlocking Medicare with Tyrone Carr. And again, stay tuned for more episodes. And again, thank you for watching.